Right now, somewhere under your feet, there is a city bigger than New York. It has highways, hospitals, farms, climate control, a population of 8 million, and not a single human being has ever set foot inside it. We didn't build it, we didn't design it, and honestly, we couldn't replicate it if we tried. This video is about the buildings, the cities, and the civilizations that existed long before ours, and what they say about how special we actually are. The termite mound. Let's start with termites. Because termites should embarrass us, a termite mound scaled up to human proportions would stand over a kilometer tall. That's taller than any structure ever built by humans. Inside it, there are tunnels, ventilation shafts, fungus farms, nurseries, and a royal chamber at the very center, all built by insects with no eyes, no blueprint, and no project manager. But here's the part that really stings. The mound regulates its own temperature. Every single day, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside, the interior stays within 1 degree of 30 degrees Celsius. It does this passively, through a network of air channels that work on the exact same principles as human lung tissue. Researchers only figured this out in the 1990s. The termites figured it out 30 million years ago. There are buildings in Zimbabwe right now copying termite ventilation to replace air conditioning systems. We are learning from insects. That's where we are. Now let's talk about the only other animal on Earth that deliberately reshapes its environment the way we do. The beaver. A beaver doesn't just build a home. It builds a world. It looks at a river, decides the river is wrong, and fixes it. Beaver dams can stretch hundreds of meters, flooding entire valleys, creating lakes where dry land used to be. And in the center of that lake, perfectly positioned and completely surrounded by water, sits the lodge with underwater entrances, dry sleeping chambers above the waterline, and a winter food store packed and ready months in advance. Ecologists have a word for what beavers do to ecosystems. They call them a keystone species, meaning remove the beaver and the whole system falls apart. Rivers dry up, wetlands vanish, dozens of other species disappear with them. Put the beavers back, and within years, the land comes alive again. The beaver is not finding a home. The beaver is building a habitat, and then generously sharing it with everyone else. We could learn something there too. The leafcutter ant. Here is a fact that will quietly ruin your day. Leafcutter ants have been farming for 50 million years. Humans have been farming for about 12,000. They had agriculture before we had language, before we had fire, before we had anything. Their colonies, some housing 8 million individuals, run entirely on underground fungus gardens. The ants cut leaves, carry them home, chew them into a paste, and feed that paste to the fungus. The fungus feeds the colony. It is a closed-loop agricultural system, running continuously, that has not failed once in 50 million years, and it's not just farming. These colonies have dedicated waste disposal tunnels, separate chambers for different castes, ventilation systems, and a security force that responds to threats within seconds. This is not an anthole. This is a city, a working, functional, thriving city that has been running without interruption for longer than our species has existed. The weaver bird. And then there are the sociable weaver birds of southern Africa, who decided at some point in their evolutionary history that individual nests were for quitters. A sociable weaver colony builds one structure, one enormous, shared communal structure that can house over 100 breeding pairs, with separate chambers for each family, insulated entrance tunnels, and a thick outer shell that keeps the whole thing cool in summer and warm in winter. Some of these nests are so heavy they bring down the trees they're built on. But the detail that really gets me is this. These nests are not rebuilt every season. They are inherited. Each generation of birds is born into a home that was already there, adds to it, improves it slightly, and passes it on. Some of these structures are over 100 years old. The birds alive today never met the birds who started it. They just got the keys and kept going. We call that civilization when humans do it. So here's the question you're probably already asking. If termites build better climate systems, beavers reshape landscapes, ants run agricultural economies, and birds build multi-generational housing, what exactly are we bringing to the table? The honest answer is one thing: awareness. Every animal we've looked at is running a program, an extraordinarily sophisticated program, refined across millions of years of evolution, capable of producing results that look from the outside exactly like intelligent planning. But no termite has ever looked at its mound and wondered if it could be taller. No beaver has ever tried a completely different design. The program runs, the structure appears, it works perfectly, and it never changes. What we do, the genuinely strange thing about humans, is that we know we're doing it. We can choose to do it differently. We can look at a termite mound, understand it, and copy it. We can fail and decide to try again and try something new. We are the only animal that looks at what another species built and thinks, how did they do that? Which also means we're the only animal that could look at all of this and feel a little embarrassed. They've been doing it longer. Some of them do it better. And none of them have managed to destroy the planet they built it on. We're still working on that part. There is a termite mound in Namibia that has been continuously occupied for over 2,000 years. The Roman Empire appeared and collapsed. Entire human civilizations rose and vanished. The termites kept building. We tend to think of cities as the proof that we are different, that we are above, that we stepped out of nature and built something nature could never have made. But nature was building long before we arrived. And some of what it built we still can't match. If you want to find the most efficient climate-controlled high-density city ever constructed, you don't need to look at a skyscraper. You just need to know where to look.